Okay, here's a little close-up of how the shifting works. There's the left side drive sprocket out of the tank, obviously. And this shifter is always fixed to it by this pin here, but it's allowed to slide back and forth. So when it's to the right, there's a square on the drive shaft that it engages, so that gives it power. But in the middle position, it's disengaged. And then if I keep sliding it over, this square engages into a socket in the transmission housing, so that locks this whole sprocket. Here's my shaft. So there's the square I put on the shaft to transmit power. There's the shifter that slides the shifter back and forth. And then on the inside of the transmission housing, there's my square socket to lock the track. So here you can kind of see it all together on the other side. Square from the drive shaft engages here to go get power. And the square on this side engages in this socket on the transmission to lock the track. I showed in the last video a picture of me turning it, and I was able to turn it, but none of the kids were. It took too much power. It goes straight ahead real easy, but it takes a tremendous amount of power to turn it. It just has way more traction than I thought it would with plastic treads on it. So I thought, well, to overcome that, I need a lower gear. So I built a 2-speed transmission. So this lever here, you can see it shifts right there. It's on the bigger gear, so that's the low speed. And then if I shift it over here, now it's on the smaller gear, so it has higher speed, but a lot less torque. And sorry for rotating on there. And so there's the shifter for the left track to brake the left track, and there's a shifter for the right track. But anyway, once I did the transmission, it turned no problem, but out on the concrete, the driveway's real smooth, but out on the concrete, it has a lot more grip, and it kept breaking tracks. These tracks just aren't strong enough, these wood tracks. They're wood tracks with a plastic tread on them. So my neighbor Aaron gave me the idea to put some casters underneath the front and the rear to take some of the weight off the front and the rear and still have the middle for traction to go forward. So that's going to work. I already tested it. I don't have the wheels yet, but I tested it with some a transmission jack, and that's going to work. So I'm excited that's going to work. I'm a little disappointed. I wanted it to drive and turn just like a real tank with the working suspension and everything. So it's going to have a couple casters underneath, which aren't authentic, but it's going to work. I don't have to, otherwise I'd have to completely redo the track, and I just don't have time for that. It took a lot of work to build those tracks. I tested them to 275 pounds, but turning, it takes more than that to get it to turn with the full traction. So anyway, there's the update. Pretty soon I'll get the rest of the hull done. Then we'll get to work on the turret.